So how do you identify whose opinion has got your best interests at heart?
Female friendships are so important, that's sisterhood, but women tend to talk more about their appearance. Oh, I need to lose weight. I'm like, says who? And the amount of women that I've spoken to where they go, oh, I was going to do that, but then my friends laughed at me and I didn't do it. They'd be like, are you not happy with what you've got? What's wrong with that? I'm ambitious, I just love life and want to experience it all, so why would I not see what I'm capable of and constantly trying to push myself? Distance yourself from them and come in this community where anything's possible. We sold out within 12 hours and then we kind of just been going from strength to strength.
Don't Work Harder is the show for entrepreneurs who are ready to catapult their business forward, because we believe it's not about working longer, harder or smarter, it's about those braver moments. One bold move is worth 1,000 small steps. So rather than those small incremental movements that are moving you forward at a much slower pace, we're going to share with you the stories of successful entrepreneurs who've taken those big, bold steps to move them forward. This show is brought to you by Atomic, and I'm your host, Simon Randauer, and I'm here not only to share with you the stories of entrepreneurs and the success that they've had, but you'll also walk away with the insights of what they did at that exact moment when they made that change that moved their business forward. Lindsey Kane is a former makeup artist turned serial entrepreneur. She is the co-founder of Jolt, an award-winning, scientifically based supplement designed to improve health span and longevity. And she's also the CEO of Yes Button, an online community and dinner club where big ideas and bold conversations come to life. I can't wait to learn more about Lindsey, because that is a really great mantra, to hear not only how she balances co-founding an award-winning health supplement business, but also life with a high-profile husband, and also how she marries that with inspiring others through the Yes Button. Hi, Lindsey. Thank you so much for joining us. Now, I know I've already said this to you, but just a reminder, it's PG show, so we'll bear that in mind. It's really lovely to meet you. We've already had a great conversation in the green room before we started. So let's just set the scene a little bit. You were a makeup artist who is the co-founder of not only a health and lifestyle supplement, but you also have your very first wellness retreat later this year in Ibiza, I hear. And you've got a second product that is also imminently due out, as well as being the CEO of the Yes Button. we'd like to start big here. So I want to start with Jolt. Can you tell me what sparked the idea of creating a supplement when you could argue there's actually loads of supplements in the market, but you have an award-winning supplement? How did you do that?
Well, first of all, just say thank you for having me.
You are welcome.
I'm really excited about this podcast. So,
Thank you.
And so for Joel, I mean, I have so many things going on at the minute, and I don't even know what day it is half the time or who I am. And as well as being like a mom, I've got a 9-year-old going on 19, so I'm navigating that life.
Yeah.
So Jolt came about purely because, so in a nutshell, it's like I say, my daughter, she's turning 10 in October.
Okay.
So after she was born, I had this overwhelming fear of mortality, which never experienced before. I thought it was just me. Didn't know that it's a really common thing that a lot of people suffer with. It just hit me. I was just very aware of time and my age. And I thought, well, I'm not actually a teenager anymore, even though still to this day, I still feel like 17.
Yeah.
And my husband, he's a stand-up comedian and very high energy, and he always loves experimenting with different supplements, and he would read the blind trials, all the different clinical trials reports throughout the years, and he would just experiment himself, what works, what hasn't. So, but he's somebody that's really annoying, he'll do something and he'll stick with it. Whereas I'm like, oh, I need to simplify it. He'll have like 100 different pill pots going on, and he'll do it every single day, 10 times a day if needed. Whereas I'm like, I just want something simple and easy. So we're opposite in that sense. But for years he was taking supplements and noticed a different, and also not only like cellular, like the inside, how he was feeling with energy and things like that, but also obviously skin, hair, all those kind of things. And he went on the Diary of a CEO podcast with Stephen Bartlett, and he was talking about biohacking and all the things that he would do to help with energy. then after that episode aired, we both had so many DMs on social media. What does he take? What's the dosage? How can I trust it? Oh, it's too expensive and it's too many things.
Right.
So I thought, well, over the last sort of couple of years, I'd been taking like 10 or 12 different ones, but my husband had combined it into an easy pot for me just because he knows I won't take all these different ones. So if he hadn't done that for me, I probably would be like, I can't be bothered. I don't know where to buy them from.
Yeah.
So a lot of people were more like me, can't be bothered, it's too much. And so I started searching online. Is there a combined sort of multi-supplement version? Because they're not your sort of standard vitamin C, all those kind of things off the shelf. They're the biohacking, specifically scientifically.
And it's a premium supplement, isn't it?
Premium as well.
Yeah.
And I couldn't find anything, so I just said to my husband, I said, do you think if we combine like the core 7 and it's like 3 capsules a day, do you think people would buy it? And he said, well, let's give it a go. And that is literally how it was born. And then we launched it about a year after that idea. And then we sold out within 12 hours. And then we kind of just been going from strength to strength.
Okay, amazing. I definitely want to break this down because it's interesting, isn't it? So you have one person who already had a personal interest and knowledge in the supplement market, and actually, from what you were saying, knew it at quite a deep level. And then you had yourself who was like, I just want this to be easy. I'm willing to do it.
Yeah.
I want to get the result, but like I really can't remember to take all of these different supplements. So when you guys had this conversation together, what was the very first thing that you needed to do to take it from a conversation where you both could see an opportunity to it actually becoming a supplement that not only is sold out, but is award winning? So what was the first thing you did?
Just start contacting manufacturers. What I've realized about myself is whenever I've launched a lot of different businesses over the years, since even when I was like a teenager, I would just try things, and obviously things didn't work out. Some did, some didn't, but I've learned a lot of expensive lessons. So that is the thing with me. If something doesn't exist in a way that I either would enjoy it or experience it, then I'll create it. So I've only kind of just discovered this in the last couple of years about myself. But yeah, I would just start with research, really, contacting different manufacturers. What do I need to do to be compliant? Obviously, I'm not a doctor or scientifically qualified. So we then worked with doctors and people, nutritionists, all these people that can say, yes, this works, this is fine to combine it together. I'm just somebody who thinks, like I say, I'm not a scientific person or a doctor, I'm medically trained. So it's important to speak to somebody who has that knowledge.
Yeah, who knows that.
Yeah.
So with our podcast, so we call it Don't Work Harder. And that's because I think so many people think you've got to work longer hours, you've got to work smarter, you have to work harder. And we're saying that actually what we're seeing is really catapulting businesses forward are those brave moments, those moments where it's like the big domino that knocked something over and it allowed you to take a big, bold step. So you were speaking to experts. Can you remember the big domino moment that then took it from a conversation, having spoken to manufacturers, to suddenly feeling like, right, this is coming to life?
With Jolt or just in general?
With Jolt. Let's start with Jolt. And I'd love to talk about the others in a bit too.
I think it's the first time when you start telling people what you're going to do, because you'll get a mixture of responses. I had some people that aren't really in my life anymore, but they'd be like, oh, you're launching another thing, you're launching something else, are you not happy with like what you've got? You're always doing something. I'm like, yes, like what's wrong with that? Like I'm ambitious, I just love life and want to experience it also. Why would I not see what I'm capable of and constantly trying to push myself? But I think it's that first time, especially when you get like branding, like logo done, and you're starting to do a bit of market research. What do you think of this concept? And I think market research, when you start putting things out and you start verbalizing what you're doing, and then you've got people going, that's an amazing idea, or you've got people going, I don't know, oh, you're doing something else again. So I think it's just bringing it to life in that way. That's the first, because then you're committed, then you're kind of spoken about it. You've got to go follow it through and do it.
And you kind of just said it with those people who are like, oh, you're doing something else. So one of the things I wanted to ask you was there any advice that you ignored and it paid off? So not listening to them.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Tell me.
This is something that I'm personally working on. So every year, like I have a theme of what I'm working on, or things I want to do. So for this year, it was like, because I love what I do, I'm always working and it doesn't feel like work. So I'm very lucky to be able to say that.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I don't really have hobbies because I love like researching and doing what can I do next.
I was literally having this discussion earlier today. Yeah, I
just love it. You know, and so the first thing, I suppose, so my theme for this year was what my hobby is. I want to try and like dance. Like I did a sexy heels dance class, not done that before. I did a pole dancing exercise class, something completely out of my comfort zone.
Okay.
Which that's another thing that I think people should be trying to do a lot of. But I am really trying to connect to my intuition as well, because I feel like over the years I've been manipulated, you know, so I'm really working on boundary setting and those kind of things. But before we launched, we were having a lot of meetings with different companies, different investors and things like that, just to try and get as much knowledge as I possibly could. And there was a gentleman that spoke to my husband, fine conversation, and then spoke to me, and then it was like, you know, I can do this for you, Lindsay, you know, I can take it all off your hands, basically trying to like lay seeds of doubt, like, you've never done this before, so are you sure you're going to be able to do it? Are you sure I can do it? I just need X amount of part of your company to do it. And I was like, you know, I'm good, like we're not looking for that at the moment, but I know where you are if we do. And I was like, so all these seeds of doubt, and I was like, oh my god, everyone. My internal dialogue, is like, I've changed it. It's been a long time, over a couple of years, where I've managed to rewire it. But at that time, my internal dialogue was, he thinks that you're not capable. He can see through you. A bit of imposter syndrome, I suppose it was. He can see through you. You've never done it before, and everyone will be laughing at you. And then I was like, do I give him a part of my company and let him just do it? But I didn't. I was like, no, I can do this. I'm going to do it. And I'm so glad I didn't, because it wasn't someone that was passionate about what we were building. It was just purely, oh, that's a good concept.
Yeah,
I could do that. And so it just, he wanted a piece of that pie. So I think what I'm learning to do is really trust my own instincts and go with that gut intuition.
I mean, had you ever heard that before? It's better to have half a watermelon than what was it, 100%?
Better to have like 40% of a watermelon than 100% of the grape. Basically 100% of nothing is trying to imply.
I mean, it totally makes sense. But had you ever heard it before?
I have heard of that. Yeah. In like in sense of like Dragon's Den and things like that.
Honestly, okay. Well, that's a new one. I think that is a new one for me for sure. So,
but it planted a seed of doubt.
Yeah,
and my point is, he never said that to my husband, but he said it to me. So I thought that was an interesting dynamic within itself, and I've had a lot of situations like that.
We're going to take a short pause to hear from one of our sponsors. Sponsors help us make the best show possible. Don't Work Harder is sponsored by Constant Contact, the digital marketing platform built with small business owners in mind. With Constant Contact, you can grow your contacts list, send out more emails, organise social media and events, and simply get more done with their advanced automation tools. It's everything you need to grow your business, advance your automation, and attract more of the right customers all in one place. Visit constantcontact.com to get started. And how much of a part did intuition play in letting you know that somebody was actually trying to plant a seed of doubt in your mind?
I didn't get a good vibe from that person.
Okay.
So this is what I say to my daughter all the time. Like, you know, she asks me a question, I always go, well, how do you feel about it? Do you like that person? She'll go, no, I don't. And I go, do you know why? And they go, no, I just don't. And I go, well, listen, tell me your gut feeling telling you. You listen to it. Don't try and like use your brain to get around it and go, oh, well, maybe it's because of this. No, you go with that feeling. I just didn't get a good feeling. And that's what I'm learning to do. Even if you can't explain it in that moment, if something's just going, like an alarm going off, I wish I knew this like before with some of my ex-boyfriends, but hey ho. But you know, it's just have to go with that feeling, you know, and if there's any doubt, don't do it.
So you decided that you guys were definitely going to be doing it yourself. And your co-founder, so you've mentioned your husband, is there anybody else that was involved?
There's Dan, who is my husband's best friend, kids who are like 6 years old, and he's always been the go-to person whenever I've done a business. And he used to be in tech. Well, he's heavily in tech and used to build websites and all that sort of thing. So I just purely went to him and said, I'm looking to have a website built. Can you give me some rough figures? This is when I was like at researching stage. And he was like, what are you doing? So I told him, and he said, Lindsay, he said, I've been taking all these things that Russell told me to take about a year ago. He said, it's been life-changing for me. I've got energy, I've got all this, my libido's up, And he was like, can I come in? I wasn't even asking him if he wanted to be a part of the business. I was purely just asking him, could he give me a cost for a website? And he was like, please, can I have in? I think this has got legs. It's changed my life and I know it can help others. So that's how Dan came on board. And to be honest, we've all got our own roles.
That's what I was going to ask you.
And that's been changing.
How do you balance the roles? Like, how do you identify time, skill set? Because there's loads of things to balance, aren't there?
Yeah, I suppose what it's allowed me to do is, whereas all the other businesses that I've launched over the years, it's been 100% me, and then I've not really had the money to outsource and delegate. So everything has landed on me. And in terms of like being productive, I had a newborn and I'd be up till 3 a.m. doing emails, packaging my products to ship out, doing a feed at 4 a.m, just constantly exhausted, and it's counterproductive. So what working with my co-founders has allowed me to do is just that. We're all got the same end goal, the three of us with this company, and we've all got different skills. So Russell is a part of the creative side of it, copywriting. He was a copywriter before he did comedy.
I was just going to say, the messaging is so bold and clear. How did you do that? So that's your husband.
Yeah,
right.
So he obviously a comedian, but he was copywriter beforehand.
Okay.
And then Dan is the sciencey one. He loves doing research. He's the one that's dealing with all the techie stuff that I'm a bit like,
like the compliance side.
Yeah, all that and then I'm like the people person, so I love building relationships and connecting with people, and it's something that having the co-founders has made me realize, actually I am really creative. Like I love creating campaigns and concepts and experimenting. And what I've started to do in this sort of last year and a bit is, I think, well, before we launched Jolt, it was the first kind of business that I'd launched where I wasn't necessarily looking at what the competition was doing.
I was going to ask you about that. Yeah.
Because I think for so long, because I've been in personal development for many years and it's always been linked to business building.
Okay.
And I've realized that I'm always following someone else's formula or someone else's way of doing things. And then when it doesn't work for you, it's like, whereas now I'm like, I'm doing my market research on my customer, like what are they needing, what are they wanting, who are they? And okay, we might have a glance at what others are doing, but a lot of supplement brands, it's a very saturated market. It's all quite sciencey, boring, and most people like myself don't have the time to read through all the different science, the terminology, the big long words. They just want it simplified. They want it digestible to understand. I want it or I don't. So that's what we're doing, is we want to make people laugh. It's like one of the first biohacks that's free.
Yeah.
And, it releases all these.
That's intentional.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. Everything we're doing. And we're not just, every supplement brand out there in their content is all about sell. And we're like, we do have a supplement, yes, and we're selling that. But first and foremost, our content, we want to, make people laugh. We want to make people think and do things that are free that help improve the health span. So sleep, we want to educate on sleep, nutrition, movement, relationships, not only to ourselves, but with our partners, who we married to, who's in our family. Are we around toxic people? These are things that we can do that are free, where we can educate, going, just maybe set boundaries, so we're trying to do things differently and just what we enjoy doing. We really enjoy making the content, and we're launching a libido supplement as well. Because again, having, you know, the impact of sex and the relationship.
The copywriting around that's brilliant. Coming soon. Yeah, very good.
Yeah, exactly.
Good.
So these are things where, you know, again, when you're connecting with your partner, it improves our overall happiness and connection with, you know, with each other. So that is a massive biohack that I think people don't talk about.
And what's your background? 'Cause, like, I'm literally sitting here thinking, God, you must be so proud of yourself. Like, did you do, like, have you got a marketing background? Like, how do you know what you know?
I was laughing about this recently because if I would go back to my 20-year-old self, 20 years ago, so I'd be like, I'm 37 now. And it's funny how things come full circle. And I would really definitely say just trust the process. I've heard people say this before and it's like, it makes no sense.
Yeah, what does it mean?
What does it mean? But actually it's clicked what it means. So for background, I suppose back when I was at school, it was like, oh, you change, you know, when you change your mind, I want to do this. Oh no, I want to try that. I want to do this. There've been comments at school with like teachers and things where it was like, oh God, Lindsay, you're so fickle. You're changing your mind all the time. And I would really try and suppress that and be like, right, okay, so I need to know what career I'm going to do when I'm 17, 18, and then I need to stick with it until the day I die. And actually, that, like, why are we being taught that at that age? Like, it's ridiculous. Go and explore life. So even when I was hiring someone soon, I was like, what is it that you want to experience right now? What is it that you want to learn right now? Not where do you want to be in 30 years' time? We change so much, and it's ridiculous to even ask that as a question. But I've always been creative. So I wanted to do art. I wanted to go into fashion. And I was like, no, I don't want to do this. And then I did events management. So I did a 3-year degree in events management, left that degree during the recession, then went and worked in an office. It's like, I am not an office person. I hate the 9 to 5. I hate every day being the same. I just don't like it. And then that's when I started to like set up businesses. And then I went and studied makeup because I was always really good at makeup, but I felt like I needed a certificate to prove that I could do it. So and then I could charge people if I had my certificate. So did that, worked in TV, and then I was pregnant. I was like, I don't want to work 14 hours in a studio. I want to be at home. I want to be able to travel with my husband if he goes on tour. So, but I thought I need to work. I can't not do something. So I launched a lash brand. At the time, there was not many options on the market, and I struggled as a makeup artist to find different styles to suit different eye shapes. I set up 2 eyelash brands, sold 1. Property, I've got into property investing, and I've learned so much from all these different kind of career shifts. Launched Jolt, it's been a huge success, and then now I'm launching my Yes Button community, and the Yes Button community is an online platform. Well, it's going to be an online thing. It's going to be accessible for people that don't get access to personal development, because I'm lucky that I'm able to, over the years, spend money in personal development, but most people can't, and they don't really know where to start with it. So this is the platform for them. And then there's something else that's come from it, which is the dinner club, which is for women that are more into personal development, quite deep in their journey, and will get access to a personal, a speaker. Because I went to a Princess Trust event, and I went, and Tim Peake was speaking, the astronaut. I had no idea I was sat on his table, and I got to ask him questions. I mean, how many people get to ask an astronaut?
It's that accessibility, isn't it?
And so I thought, I really want to combine the dinner element with a speaker that we wouldn't normally get access to, and we can ask a question. So that's where the dinner club's kind of been born. So in answer to your question,
so you are a serial entrepreneur then.
It's come full circle. So I've spent years going, oh, what a waste of 3 years of my life doing an event management degree. And then I'm like, oh, yeah, I'm actually using my degree and connecting people via events. So I understand why I'm doing that now, because I was severely bullied at school and I never fitted into any kind of circle. So again, I'm like, oh, and it came about when I was like, my mentor said, well, why do you want to create this community? And I'm like, I suppose I want others to feel seen and heard and have that support network. And so I start my dinners where it's like, this space is not for any judgment or bitchiness or critiquing people that aren't here, or it is about us. It's not about you as a mom. Like, leave those labels at the door. Who are we as individuals? And we help each other grow and get to that next stepping stone. So I suppose it just makes complete sense what I'm doing now.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, you're so inspiring to listen to, and it's like all these questions are going off in my head. So you talked about event management, which might fit into me understanding where the Ibiza Wellness Retreat has come from. So that's something that you guys are doing this year. Tell me how it went from the supplement to it be award-winning to thinking, right, now we are going to take this brand and we're going to have offshoots from it. So where did the Wellness Retreat come from?
I think me and Russ, we love connecting with people and like-minded people, and even people that are not mentally where they want to be. We just have a real way of kind of connecting with people and wanting to bring them with us, really, and create that experience. So I don't know, we're just constantly experimenting as a brand with what we're doing. So my accountant's furious, but we're not making any money on the first retreat because we're like, well, we're just seeing what the experience is like. We've got amazing speakers being flown in. We've got all these different activities, and we just want people to be jolted, basically. So we're calling it Jolt My World Retreat because we do want you to come on this retreat and then leave a different person, leave without any weight or baggage from anybody else's thoughts and opinions of you, because I think that's one of the main things that stop people from really living a life that they really want to.
It's other people's opinions and the weight of it. You're right. Do you have a team around you that is supporting you with all of these various things? So I'm just thinking, like, how do you manage to do it all?
Yeah, I do now. And I think that's really important. I've got a really tiny circle of people who I would trust in, with opinions. I can ask them questions and say, like, what do you think of this? Do you think I'm off? Do you think I'm mental, crazy, and they'll be honest with me. So I think I've got one like best friend where I can ask, and she'll go, Lindsay, you're a bit, you've lost it there, or so I take that feedback on. But it's because I used to ask everybody their opinion. I used to ask everyone, what do you think? What do you think? Everyone. And I think that is a problem in itself, because actually what it's saying is that I didn't trust myself at that time. And when you listen to everyone else's opinions, they don't have your vision. They don't have what you've got in your mind or what you want to create. So I'd be really careful as well about who you tell, when you've got ideas and things.
So how do you identify whose opinion has got your best interests at heart?
It comes down to the feeling.
Right.
I think now you can see where people's intentions are. And also, someone can have the best intention, and I can go, right, they've got the best intention, but they don't get what I'm trying to create, and that's okay.
Yeah.
And whereas I used to be probably offended and take it personally and think, oh my God, it's going to fail because no, they just don't have my vision, and that's okay, so.
And are these a circle of people, or are these employees?
We've got a freelance team. So I've got my friend, I went for a TikTok training with a girl called Charlie. She was working for a company, and then she left and set up her own agency, OAC Marketing, and she built a massive, amazing team around her. She just started just herself. So when I first met her, she was like, right, we're going to learn how to do this, and then we're going to do that, and then the last hour of our day we're going to do some videos recording. And I was like, absolutely not. I was like, I don't record content. I don't speak in front of a camera. I certainly won't speak in front of a person. Absolutely not. How embarrassing, how cringe. Anyway, we both laugh at this story now, because she's left, like I say, set up her own agency, and then she does all our socials and my socials and everything that you see online, social media wise. Her and her team are helping us with that side of stuff. And I trust her opinion as well. And because she's come from we've got the same, do you know what it is? We've got really similar morals and values as people. So she'll often say, oh no, Lindsay, I think, see where you're going there, but have you thought about it in this way? So it's just having that circle. And then we've just taken on our first apprentice as well. So amazing. She's incredible. So yeah, we're just kind of building slowly but surely.
And when you take on an employee, there's always a risk, isn't there? Because suddenly there's a cost that's being added to the bottom line of the business. What do you have to do as an individual to be able to trust that the person that's going to come into your business is going to have the same or similar levels of enthusiasm and care as you have? How do you create that?
We've only just recently taken on our apprentice, and when we were hiring, you know, I was speaking to the agent and I was like, can you not send me any more CVs? I can't read another black and white CV. I just can't. It's all merging to one. I just want like bullet point, like form, who these people are, how would the friends describe them? What are their interests? What are their hobbies? What do they love doing?
Yeah.
I want to know them as people. And also I learned that you can teach skill, but you can't teach energy. And I think I needed someone who's high energy, creative, because they're going to bring the best out of me as well. And so it's still, I mean, we're literally, I think, in month 1. So maybe check back with me in 6 months. But hopefully, fingers crossed, it'll go well. One thing I have learned through using AI and Chat GPT, which is a mouthful in itself, is that if you're not giving direct, really specific prompts, you're not going to get what you want back. So it's really taught me, okay, so if I'm communicating and asking Chat to do something and it's not doing it how I want, that's not the Chat GPT's fault. It's my fault for not communicating that. So it's made me rethink how I communicate in my everyday life. Even with like my daughter, I'm really specific now. And like, you know, I used to go, oh, can you do this task for me, please? And then you wouldn't get it back. So now I'm like, oh, can you do this task for me? Can I have it by Thursday at 12 o'clock, please? And either send it on email or WhatsApp. So I'm being really specific, because I think if you don't lead and be direct with things, then it's open to interpretation, isn't it? And that can be quite confusing as an employee, I suppose. So I'm becoming more specific.
Yeah, so a really good point. And I think of the number of times I've written to my AI and said, oh, I give up, or you just don't understand me. So now I think I'm going to go in with a bit more kindness there, Lindsay. I'm going to take that away from you. How do you organise your diary with all of this going on? So we've got retreat, we've got product, we've got the dinner club and the community. Obviously, we've got parent. So how do you balance your week? Do you balance your week?
I don't know. I don't know. I ask myself that every day. I have, the last few weeks I've been a bit slack, but I got into a really good habit of using Chat GPT to brain dump. So because I can't write quick or type quick, but I can speak quick and get it all out, I brain dump onto Chat GPT. And I get it to organise, I tell it what my priority is, and it'll do like a to-do list. Not that, I still, what my habit is and my toxic trait is, I've got my priority list, but then I'm like, oh, if it's a bit boring,
I'm not going to do it.
Except that. So I'm trying to be better with it.
So you do attempt to get organised?
I do attempt, yeah. On a Sunday, I'll try and attempt, like, what's my week looking like? What do I need to do? What's the priority? What do I keep putting off? And I try and delegate as much as possible. Even when I had no money and I'm trying to delegate, I was using VAs, virtual assistants, or using Fiverr to create something, you know, like a graphic or something.
Yeah.
I would say try and delegate as much as possible, because you can't do everything and be everything to everyone.
And I think it's really interesting, as I speak to entrepreneurs, like you kind of can recognise when there've been traits in you long before you even had a business that almost kind of showed me that you were destined to be able to run multiple businesses, and obviously to the scale that you have. And I do want to talk a little bit more about your makeup brand and selling it. But before we do that, thinking about kind of like where you guys are with Jolt. So it's like 2 years in, you've got a second supplement coming out, you've got a retreat. What's the ambition for the business? Where would you like to take it?
Good question. I actually don't know. I just want to see where we can go. Like, say, Natalie, who's our apprentice, I'm just like, we're just going to experiment. Let's just experiment with things. Even if you think the idea is crazy, present it to me, because we might not go with that idea, but it might spark some other ideas along the way. So the things that I've had to ask her to do in the first week, she's like, what am I doing? Like, she's, you know, it's like, oh, can you research lubricant manufacturers, you know, because we're launching, I don't know, shall I give an exclusive?
Let's give it.
So the product is called Jolt, which is going to be our libido supplement.
Love it, yeah.
So our libido supplement is going to be called Jolt Bolt. It's launching in September, and it's a unisex libido. So it's all these amazing natural ingredients in there to help improve that side of life. And so I'm like, well, alongside, we're doing a campaign to get Britain. So we're like, no, we're going to talk about it because it's something that's free for us to connect with our partners.
And it's about connection.
Yeah, it's connection. And so, you know, we want to bring out that message, and we just want to explore, see where we can take it. We want to push the boundaries. We want to do the opposite of what all the other kind of supplement businesses are doing. They're doing the same kind of things, and we're like, no, it's boring, and we want to see where we can go with it.
How much does having your husband, who's obviously in the public eye, how much do you think that helps with the reach of the brand?
Oh yeah, I'd be lying if I said it didn't. I mean, there's something that I've had to get over is all my life I've been told, like, oh well, you'll be okay, you'll marry rich, or you'll do this, or you've got a boyfriend that does this job, or you've got a husband that does that job. So everything that I've kind of got myself is not really because of that I've got myself, it's because of somebody else. And I'm like, do you know what, like, I have really built this business, and if people think it's because of other stuff, like, it is what it is. I've kind of got over that concept now. People are always going to have an opinion. People are always going to say things. So it is what it is. But I'll be lying if I said it didn't. But it does help massively. But we've ran individual campaigns away from my husband, which have worked really well. So we're experimenting and seeing what works, what doesn't work.
Yeah, and I think it's like, why wouldn't you leverage something that gives you a competitive advantage? And if already having an audience, and obviously having been on, you know, a big podcast where lots of people got to hear about the lifestyle that existed long before, you know, yourself and Russell decided to launch this, like, it would be crazy not to leverage it. So I think that makes, you know, that actually makes a lot of sense.
But sorry, can I just say that like, Russell will only take it so far. You know, we've got a real high retention rate with returning customers. We've got people on constant subscriptions since we launched. So yes, Russell might pull them in, but if the product wasn't good, they would buy it once, try it once, and never come back. So the product speaks for itself in that sense.
Brilliant point. Yeah.
So it's like, yes, it will take us so far, but then, you know, it's like I say to my daughter, like, you have to work super hard. I said, because don't think you're going to be doing this or doing that because of who your mum's got a company or your dad's doing that.
Yeah.
We can only take you so far. The rest is on you. So don't think that you can get a job. Like, obviously when she was a bit younger, she was like, oh my God, I'd love to do acting. Daddy, can you? And he's like, no, I can't. I can introduce you to people.
But you actually then need to be good enough to get the next job.
You've got to work hard yourself. You can't just get given something because you know someone.
What did selling your eyelash, because you talked about it was eyelash business, when you were a makeup artist. What did that teach you that's been useful in terms of now where you are in your business? What does selling a company do for you?
It's so, I mean, I sold it to, I was trying to go to competition with all different lash brands. So at the time it was like iLaw and that. There wasn't really many options at the time. And I priced my product too low. So I was barely making any money on it, like as a selling product. And then I had a company that was selling my lashes anyway. And they would, through their website, they sold a lot of different brands of things. So they offered free shipping. Well, I couldn't offer free shipping because my prices were too low. I didn't get advice. So I kind of just launched it thinking, oh, let's just see where this goes. Didn't have advice at the time. And they were just I was looking to sell. Then it was COVID, then it was all that. And they were just looking for another brand to take on as their own, and they could offer free shipping. So it was just a natural transition. So it wasn't like multi-million or anything like that. It was just that they took it over, gave me some money for it. And I'd known them for a few years because they were selling the product anyway. And then so it'd be completely different if I was doing Jolt, because we're talking completely different financials now and different kind of level. But it did teach me so much. What I did do with the lash brand is I would get sidetracked. I launched with my USP. I was trying to target makeup artists specifically. But then other lash brands started popping up and becoming really successful. So I'd be like, oh, I'm going to copy what they're doing. So I would copy what they were doing, and the sales would decline. And then the COVID happened, and then no one's going out, so everything stopped. Whereas and that's the other thing, I had one product, just lashes. So it wasn't recession. It wasn't global pandemic proof, in the event of having one product. People aren't going out, so they're not buying lashes anymore. So I learned massive expensive lessons with that.
Yeah, but really valuable ones.
Yeah,
right? So
I wouldn't
actually-
change anything. You know, I believe now that the companies that I've got now are successful because of all those things, because it's all expensive lessons. I've spent a lot of money to know, oh, that doesn't work.
And do you know what I like? That you're using the term expensive lessons and you've not once used the word failure.
Yeah.
Because I mean, there isn't anything about it that sounded like a failure.
Yeah.
And ultimately you had a brand, you launched it, it was good enough for somebody else to want to buy it.
Yeah.
But again, I love that reframe around expensive lessons. And there was something that you were saying earlier, and my interpretation of it is that you were saying that as time has gone on, comes with age, it becomes with being a mum, you put some boundaries in place, maybe let go of perfection a little bit. How accurate is that I've kind of picked up on that, and what has it allowed you to do then, becoming that kind of person?
Everything. Do you know, I think I used to wear it like a badge of honor. I'm a perfectionist. It's like, that is not, I used to put that as like the first sentence on my CV.
On the top of the CV, yeah.
It's like, that is not a good trait, because actually it just means that you're in your head all the time. Perfection doesn't exist. Like, what does that even mean, and who made that rule type thing? I think it's just being hyper aware of, I think the most basic thing anyone could do is do a life audit. And that is, when you're with someone, how do they make you feel? You know, what's the energy exchange? And if someone makes you like, oh, I love that, I really enjoyed that coffee, or that when I went to, see my friend, and I feel my cup's full.
Yeah.
I feel energized. That's a sign that your body's going, oh, I love that. Whereas if you look at your phone and someone's phoning you and you're like, oh, I don't want to answer that.
It's not healthy, is it?
That is your body. Listen to your body going, this person, this energy is bad. You don't need to explain or try and work out why. It's your body reacting to them. So that was the kind of first basic thing that doesn't cost anything to do. Really go and evaluate the people in your life. And then if you can distance yourself, do. If you can't, put boundaries in, and just start with that, really. Did I answer your question?
Yeah, you really did. And I just feel like there is potentially, did something teach you that? Did something teach you that I need to change the way in which I'm living, because this is not letting me show up in the right way? Like, how did you come to this conclusion?
I suppose my husband is the main thing for this, because I mean, we've been married 11 years, we've been together about 13, and I would say, I think how I would explain it is, I was very much involved with drama land, gossip in different kind of circles and friendship groups. And I remember like saying to him one day, and I'd say something and he'd be like, why do you care? And I'm like, what do you mean? How do you? And he's like, well, it doesn't impact you, so why are you even like giving it energy? Why are you even, I don't understand why you're doing this role play around it. Like, how does it impact you? And I was like, and I couldn't answer the question. And he was like, Lindsay, I don't care about stuff like that. All I care about is my business. Am I providing? Am I looking after my family? Am I enjoying my job? Am I climbing my kind of career ladder that I want to do? And he sort of said that to me, and it just kind of made me think. And then once I started putting like distancing myself from certain people, I started having more energy as well. I'm like, oh, I feel happier. Can't explain it. I just feel happier, feel more excited for life. And I think it was that really, it kind of snowballed. So I was just hyper aware of how I was feeling around certain people. So even now, if there's like, not now because I'm really quite brutal when it comes to it, but maybe this time last year, and if I was around a group of women and they'd be bitching, I'd be like, I don't want to be a part of this. Like, you're talking about a woman who you've never met. Really talking about how you, like someone I know was talking about like Meghan, Harry and Meghan.
Yeah.
I'm like, God, I hate her. I'm like, how can you hate someone you've never met? Like, I don't understand how you, that is energy that instead of using it to hate a woman that you're never going to meet and have an opinion about something that you don't even know about.
Yeah.
Why don't you take that energy and put it into reading a book or reading something that's going to improve your mental health or your relationship with yourself or your relationship with your partner? And I think it made me hyper aware of the people that are doing that aren't happy in themselves. They're not happy in their relationships.
Yeah.
And I kind of stopped hanging around people that were bitching about their partners, you know, being horrible or calling them. It's like your partner should be your biggest cheerleader. You shouldn't want to just be mean about them. So I kind of, again, stepped back from people like that. And I think it's only when you step away from people that you realize the negative impact that it can have on you.
And how did that, it feels like that really nicely segues into the yes button. Because when I did the introduction at the beginning and I talked about, you know, the mantra that you have for this community that you're building, when did the idea come around to create it? The name, like what's the significance of the name as well?
Well, I was going to name it something else, but I definitely couldn't say it on this podcast. But it was, anyway, okay. Long story short, the name was taken. And I was like, okay. And then we were talking about different things, me and my husband. And I just kept saying, oh, well, what I'm doing this year is I'm just saying yes to everything. And I was talking about the pattern. I think I was talking to my niece's friend. And I was just saying, oh, if I can give you any advice, is like say yes to any opportunity.
Yeah.
Like I'd said something to my husband's like cousin's friend, you know, if you want work experience, if you want any work experience in business or like theatre, like give us a shout. Like you can come and shadow me, you can shadow Russell.
Right.
And they just went, thanks. Never heard anything for like years. And I was saying to my daughter, like, always say yes to opportunity, figure it out later.
I love that.
But I've always done that. It's from when I was a teenager. I've always just gone, if someone's giving me an opportunity, I go, can I get a phone number? Can I get an email? How can I make this happen? And I would do it there and then. Don't wait, because when there's a delay, the momentum's gone and people are busy and they forget about it. You know, it's not personal. Life goes on. And so I always say, like, just say yes to the opportunities and figure it out down the line. So it was just inevitable just to be like, what's called the yes button, really. Because my keynote was about pushing your yes button.
Yeah.
So when I do public speaking, it's all about how I found my yes button and how everybody else can find theirs. It's all within us, but it gets pushed down through from like when we're kids.
Yeah.
You know, just little things like having a daughter. Really seeing how it can affect her. She's super confident, and like she went horse riding one time and saved up her Christmas money for the whole horse outfit, and she went and bought this jacket in I don't even know what they're even called, but all this horse gear outfit. And she went out the car, went to the teacher, and she's like, look, do you like it? And the teacher looked it up and down and went, what are you wearing that for? That's just for competitions. You're not doing competitions. And my daughter just like shrunk and she got upset and she just wanted to take off these clothes because she felt silly. And I was like, this woman should not be working with kids. But it just made me realize how just like little comments here and there chip away at our confidence.
Yeah, I felt
She's
that.
super confident, and she was chipped at, and that will stay with her. You know, hopefully it won't. But that I'm just hyper aware of what I'm saying verbally now. I probably wasn't as aware until I had my daughter. But I think, you know, these things happen just from being kids. You know, girls can't do this. Girls got to be good. You got to be a good girl. You got to be quiet. And I'm just like, no, I'm just so sick of being told what I should do and to conform. I'm from like my background. My granddad was Ukrainian. So when he came to the UK, he was all about conforming to survive.
Right.
Whereas I'm probably like the black sheep, rebellious. You know, I'm always, well, who made that rule? Why have we got to do that? Who said that? So my dad's like, oh God, Lindsay. So I think I'm trying to break free of what society expects, especially as a girl, you know, and the patriarchy. I'll be completely honest. My husband's been talking about, you know, he's a complete feminist. And when I met him, and I'd be like eye rolling, but I am an absolute raging feminist, and I'm really enjoying learning about the patriarchy, which I wasn't really taught about that, especially at school and things. Just wasn't something that was taught to us. So now I'm like really drilling it into my daughter. I don't want her to feel like she can't do something because she's a girl.
Again, so inspiring. So it sounds like the yes button is about creating a community of like-minded, is it women?
It's for women, yes. And I think the whole point of it is it's about giving women that space, a safe space to be themselves, unapologetically themselves, authentically who they are, with all their quirks. Because I think a lot of women that I speak to are in circles where they've got negative friends around them. So if they're the one that has an ambition, oh, I want to try this, maybe I want to go back and do like a degree when I'm 40, they might have friends around them going, oh God, are you not embarrassed sitting around, you know? And there's all these little comments, and they're all little seeds of doubt. And the amount of women that I've spoken to where they go, oh, I was going to do that, but then my friends like laughed at me and I didn't do it. And I'm like, no, you distance yourself from them and come in this community where anything's possible. Like, I've got a friend called Steph, and we are crazy. We'll voice note. We might not speak for like a month or two, and then all of a sudden we'll have like a million ideas, and we're like, what do you think? I'm thinking of this, I'm thinking of that. And we're like, yeah, that's a great idea. Oh my God, I can connect you with this person. And it's about having those kind of women around you that don't think you're crazy for having ambition or having this idea, or that you want to test this concept. Will it work? Won't it? Try it. We're not scared. And I think it's about creating that ecosystem for women where it's like, right, I need somebody that does marketing or branding. I've got just a woman that I can connect you with. And that's really, I want it to be like a starting foundation for women that might not be blessed to have a circle of friends around them that lift them up and enrich them and inspire them.
And where do you start with finding these women then, the women that you want to attract into this community?
So we're launching in July, and I've already got a great email list to email out to people who are so interested in it, because they don't. Again, a lot of the women that I speak to through when I do my public speaking, they don't want surface level chats. The amount of rooms that I've been in where women are talking, not all, I'm not, but women tend to talk more about their appearance. Oh, I need to like lose weight. I need to have Botox. I need to do this. I can't wear that because I'm 40, or I can't wear that because I'm a mom. And I'm like, who's made these rules?
Yes, there's who.
Says who, and someone said to me, I went to an award and I wore this dress and I felt amazing in it. And someone said, why are you wearing that dress? You're a mom. And I'm like, who said I can't? Like, me and my husband, we go to Ibiza every year. My husband's turning 50 in August. You shouldn't be going to Ibiza. He's nearly 50, and your parents. It says who's put an age limit on dancing?
Absolutely.
So basically, yeah, it's just been a natural kind of progression through people wanting to be a part of the community. Hence, women. It came about because women were messaging me going, oh, I'd love to, if you've got any events coming up, I'd love to be a part of it. And so it was just like, well, I think there's something here. I think women are they're craving that community, they're craving that connection, and especially friendships. Female friendships are so important, that sisterhood. And I think no one talks about how difficult the stages are of friendship.
Yeah.
Like, you're at uni, college, you go through your 20s, and then you kind of all start, you go from seeing each other every day to not seeing each other that often. Then we get married, kids, and then life takes over and we kind of drift apart. And I think it's about not having that pressure to be in contact every day, but having that network of people, that foundation where you've got a safe space.
And what advice would you give for anyone that has an idea? Because that's the theme that's coming through here, is that you said it earlier, I say yes and then I work it out later. So you saw an opportunity, you listened to what people were saying in your DMs. What advice would you give to anyone who is looking to build that email list? So how did you go about doing that? What was the exchange there?
Putting myself out there.
Okay.
And so just testing what works. Like, for the last few years, I was testing what content works. So when I met Charlie that day, when I was doing TikTok training, we're try to figure out the content pillars. Right? What are you interested in, Lindsay? So at the time, it was makeup, property, business, like everyday life. I'm quite a private person, so I wouldn't put a lot of things out there. But for a couple of years, I was just testing what works, what doesn't, what was getting feedback. I think I was on a podcast and I spoke about being in a coercive, controlling relationship. And I had so many messages and DMs about that topic, because so many women are in those relationships and don't even realize it. Or a lot of them go, I didn't even know that was control. I had no idea until you'd mentioned it. I'm like, wow, imagine having other women around that can help other women just by speaking about their experiences. And I think for so long, I always thought, well, I've not had it that bad, or it didn't hit me, so what's the point of me telling my story because other women have it worse off? But actually, my story is valid, and if it helps one other person, then it's worth it, isn't it? I do believe that it's all about sharing knowledge and wisdom, and I'm really abundant in that now. Like, I believe in abundance. So I believe the more you give, the more you get back in opportunities. Whereas for many years, I'd be like, oh, I can't have to be secretive about that. I can't give that information.
Yeah.
But then, well, the consequences of that are you won't get as many opportunities coming back to you.
So it was simple. It's as simple as just seeing what your community were interested in hearing more of, and then did you announce that you were like, what did you say? Something coming soon?
Yeah.
Or so it was literally, it's like a waiting list.
I think again, it's coming away from the idea of perfection. Like, I don't claim to be an expert. I think the reason it's taken me so long to kind of create it is because I'm like, well, I'm not an expert. I'm not a coach. I don't want to be a coach. I'm not an expert. I don't claim to be. And a lot of people put stuff out where they're like, I'm an expert and I'm a coach. And no, I'm not throwing shade at those people, but there are a lot of people that don't have people's best interests and they are doing it to make money.
Yeah.
I'm like, I want to learn. I want to learn from great women, great people. I want to educate myself. I don't want to do it alone. So if you fancy coming to do it with me, come along. And this is what the dinner's about. Like, we've got an amazing speaker. She's called Dior. She's a life coach. She's been on Ladies Who Launch podcast with Rochelle Humes.
Yeah. Fantastic
life coach. Mind blown. I get to learn from her. Like, she's going to be the first speaker at our first official dinner. And then I've got Grace Andrews, who works with Stephen Bartlett,
amazing.
Creative director. She said, I'm like, I get to listen and learn from these women directly. And I've created that just because it's something that I just really love learning and knowledge. And if I can bring people with me, then great.
And I know I've said it a few times during this podcast, but, I have been so inspired by listening to you. And I think like loads of women will hear how much you are doing this with like such an open heart. So there's been like so many interesting things, but I feel like this is probably one of the most serious podcasts you've done. So before we wrap up, I think this is an opportunity for you to tell us how and when you called King Charles babe.
Okay.
I feel like we need to end on this.
Right. Well, I don't really drink anymore. I think this is the other thing.
Could this be why? Is it connected?
No, it's one of the things,
Okay.
one of the many things. But we work with the Princess Trust, which is now the King's Trust. We went to an event and me and my husband were like, why are we here? Because these were like A-list people at this garden party. And it was one of the hottest days in London ever on record.
Okay.
And I have a habit of like wearing not inappropriate clothes, but things happened to me. So like my jumpsuit that I had on split at the bottom and I had to stitch myself into it. So I think I'm cursed with the Princess Trust because twice now I've actually had an accident with my outfit that I've worn. So my husband's, listen, he gets great stand-up out of it. He's
for the material.
Yeah, he gets the material. But basically, in a nutshell, we went to this garden party and the rules are, like you stay in your circle, you wait there, he comes over, you have a conversation, don't swear, don't do all these different things. Again, things come out when I'm nervous, I'm not in control of it. And so I was like, right, I had champagne and I thought, right, I'll put my champagne down and my bag in a bush.
In a bush.
Right. And Russell's like, no one's going to steal your bag. I'm like, no, it's not for that. I know no one's going to steal the bag. I'm just putting it out the way,
Yeah.
And then, anyway, we spoke to him. It was great. He was like, well done. You did really well there, Lindsay. I was like, right, great. I'll go and celebrate. I'll go and pick up my champers. Went to go and get my glass and there was like crowds because he'd moved on to like the next circle of people. And I was just sort of making my way through the crowd and I just moved this person in front of me. Excuse me, babe. And, got my bag, turned around, and as I turned around, the circle that I was in was all like this. They had their hands to their mouth in shock.
What did you do?
And Russell, it looked like someone had died or something. And I was like, what's happened? What have I missed? Really, like, when you're really scared something's happened. And I had no idea, but I'd actually moved Prince Charles out of my way and said, excuse me, babe. I'd grabbed him by the love handles and physically moved him out of my way. And all the security were like, oh, who's this woman like touching him? But I was like, oh God, I'm so sorry. And I just, honestly, things like that always happened to me. But apparently he found it funny. And I have been invited back since, so all good.
I mean, the fact that you've also, breaking news, the King has love handles. So yeah, thank you for that as well. Lindsay, I've just loved chatting to you. I always say this this bit, but we have a bit of a tradition at the end, which is we like to ask people kind of what they're listening to, watching and reading right now. I sometimes get those orders mixed up. So we're not allowed to include Russell's live DVD of his tour.
Yeah.
But could you tell me, is there any time right now for you to read, watch or listen to anything? And if there is, what is it? So we can add it to our list.
Oh, I love Brené Brown in the middle of her book, Dare to Lead, Anxious Generation. I can't remember his name, the author's name. Really amazing book. What have I just finished reading? Courage to be Disliked, which is a fantastic book.
Okay, great.
Oh, there's so many. I can't even think now.
Yeah, that's
and
a good one.
Books. What else did you want me to?
And then, are you watching anything on TV?
I don't really watch much TV. Do you know what? If I do have to switch off and just like lie there, Curb Your Enthusiasm. Alan Partridge.
Yes.
I watch
Curb Your Enthusiasm is just, I love to watch it at lunchtime. If I've got like a half an hour break, it's just.
I am Larry David. That is who I am. He is my spirit animal.
Okay, great.
No, but I am Larry David.
I love it.
I listen to music a lot. I've just discovered house music. I've always been an R&B girl, so I'm very I really react to music. So I'm always listening to music.
Amazing. Lindsay, I've loved meeting you. Thank you so much for coming to join us here at Don't Work Harder, and a fantastic conversation. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I loved my conversation with Lindsay Kane. Lindsay is such a relatable entrepreneur. Even though she's wearing multiple entrepreneurial hats, she is able to talk about how expensive mistakes, as she calls them, and I love that she doesn't call them failures. Expensive mistakes have been what have allowed her to shape how she shows up in business, how she's had to really follow her gut and her intuition. And that has led to her wearing the hat of, co-founder and CEO of Jolt, which is obviously her premium vitamin line and supplement line, alongside building a community for like-minded women and also launching retreats this year. So really inspiring conversation. Lindsay is real, relatable and funny. Thanks so much for listening to Don't Work Harder. If you enjoyed the episode, please subscribe and share. This show has been brought to you by Atomic, the home of epic business growth. Head to our website at atomic.site to hear more about our business programs and epic events.